Hey guys, welcome back. I hope everybody's doing well. Thank you for coming back another time and watching some more art that I'm hoping that you are finding enjoyable as much as I am enjoying doing it and sharing it with you. So we have been doing some things the last couple of times that we got together based on the various lines, right, that we've been using and putting together. The last time I was with you guys, we were working on some of the spirit monsters for Spirit Week at ESM High School. Again, I hope that you are taking lots of pictures. I would love to see some of them, some of your creativity, and some of the fun that you're having doing this. So I thought we would get started right away here. So again, we're going to kind of review our lines. We're going to incorporate those. We're going to create something brand new today. Before we do that though, I wanted to basically tell you that what we're going to be working on is something maybe part of a bigger picture. And this is maybe something that we could, from this point forward, we could pick maybe like an object or two, and we could place that object inside a bigger picture, right? In what we call a setting. And you might hear that when you read stories and you read books, right? It's where it takes place, right? So as you are reading books and you are finding out where the characters are and where they might live or where they might work and all of that, that's called a setting. Same thing's kind of true for your picture, right? You can take an object and you can create something around that object and place that object in what we call a setting, right? So in this case, we've been working, other than our spirit monsters, we've been doing some, just some basic drawings, right, of some animals and such like that. I know that you've been able to look at the webcams and things like that of these zoos, which is so cool, right? You get to see all of these animals in their habitats, or in what we would also like to call maybe their settings, right? Maybe where they live, right? So if you see a polar bear, you probably wouldn't find a polar bear surrounded by a lot of green trees and flowers and things like that, right? We might find a polar bear where it's very cold. So if it's very cold, we might find him with some ice around him, some very blue, very cold water, right? So that would be his setting. So I'm going to try to encourage you a little bit to create your characters, and then beyond that, maybe take your page and that you're working on with your character and figure out where he might live or a really cool place where you can place him. All right. So I'm going to show you something that we're going to draw, but I'm going to also show you I've placed him in a setting, or what I think is maybe where he lives. Okay. So voila, look at that. We have a fun little frog. I'm going to show you how to draw that frog today. All right. And I have a little dragonfly over here, but I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer and you're going to see some pencil markings, I should say, right? So you're going to need a blank piece of paper once again, definitely a pencil, definitely an eraser. Again, colored pencils, crayons, whatever your imagination kind of tells you, right? So I'm going to zoom in a little bit and I'm going to show you, oh, what is that? Maybe you drew a fish the last time and all you did was draw that fish, right? Well, this time I have taken my frog, maybe my dragonfly, and maybe I've created this line right here. Maybe this is like a little pond or a little stream that they live in, okay, or live on. Sometimes we see what's called a lily pad, okay, and that's what this kind of shape is right here. A lily pad is something that floats on the top of a water, and you'll often see frogs kind of sitting on those lily pads, all right? Over here, maybe we have another type of floating piece of plant life, right? Maybe with some greenery coming off of that. I've created a dragonfly because I think maybe a dragonfly might live in this kind of environment, right? Or this kind of setting. So that's kind of what I wanted to show you. It's fun to learn how to draw some of these types of things, right? Like our fish and a dragonfly, which I'll show you, and our frog, but you might want to think about where they live, all right? So maybe from this point forward, we can talk about that as well. All right, perfect. So what I'm gonna have you do today is I'm gonna have you get your blank piece of paper, okay? And I decided to use my picture the length or the long way, or what they call the landscape way. Not that that really matters right now, but just so you know, kind of gives you like this way instead of up and down, right? I'm going to have this part of my notebook or my sketchbook at the top, just as a point of reference for you, okay? Now with my frog that I drew, it's going to be hard for me to flip back to him. With my frog that I drew, I actually placed him not in the center of my paper today. All right, I placed him a little bit over to the side and not at the very bottom of my paper either. I kind of placed him up in this area right here because I already thought ahead that maybe I'd like my frog to be sitting in some water and he's surrounded by other things that I might find maybe in a pond, right? When you're walking out for a walk, maybe, depending on where you go for a walk, maybe there's a small pond, right? And you see some of these things, right? So like a dragonfly, he also lives in that kind of, that setting, that environment. We have a little fish down here. And again, just some water, right? So that it kind of gives you the idea of that's where they live. You can also draw a sun in the corner. But for today, we're just going to concentrate on our frog, okay? And maybe a little dragonfly. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take my pencil, right, with my eraser, and I'm going to come up and I'm going to draw an oval shape, okay? Not in this direction, but kind of this way. And this is why I say an eraser is very, very important, because it's okay if you make a mistake, right? So don't worry about getting it just right, because if there's a spot that you see that you don't like, you can go back and erase it and fix it, okay? So I'm just going to kind of draw an oval shape like that. You see that? You can almost see where the outline of that frog is from the page before, right, where I flipped. So that's kind of a funny little thing there that we might notice on our paper, but on my paper. So I'm going to keep that oval shape just like that. And then at the very top, I'm going to create two, what we would probably, we could talk about the curved lines, but we're going to make circles, right? So about medium size. And I'm going to place them right so that the bottom of the circle rests on that line right there. And they're going to be very close together, okay? There's one. And there's two. And yes, those will become his eye, okay? All right, so now for his body. So this is where we're going to utilize or use a lot of our curved lines that we've already used in the past, right? So his body is pretty much made up of a series of curved lines, as you can already see. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come maybe in about here, and the same on the opposite side. Just put some dots there to use as my point of reference. Now I'm going to draw a curved line down like this. Okay, I'm going to come over here. I'm going to do the same towards the inside, just like that one. And I'm going to stop roughly about the same spot right across from each other. I'm going to come back in here, but instead of putting my dot on the line right here, I'm going to come down just a little bit. Okay, see what I did there? Let me erase that so it doesn't get confusing. Now I'm going to put my pencil tip here. I'm going to follow this curved line, and I'm going to stop, and I'll show you what I mean. Okay, I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to do the same. And look at that. All right, now we're going to give him what we would consider maybe his feet, okay? But the fun thing about a frog, right, is they have like the webbed feet. So just to kind of give you an illusion, or what maybe looks like a webbed, we're going to use some wavy lines, okay? And first we're going to do some curve, and we're going to, look at that. Okay, we're going to do the same over here. We're just going to do 3. Okay, now I'm going to come up here, and I'm going to come over to this place, right? And I'm going to kind of use that as I'm going to just use a little bit of a curved line. But see, I didn't really like my line over here on this end, so I'm going to give him a little bit more of a curve down. There, that's better, instead of straight across. Okay, perfect. Now you can even come back here and kind of erase the dots so it doesn't look, you know, so obvious, right? But it's okay, either way. All right, now, here you go. We're going to use a big, huge, kind of curved line, and I'm going to start over here, and I'm going to bring it right over here to this side. So watch what I'm going to do. It's a little bit of a curve down. And bring him up. And look at that. That's pretty much his mouth. All right, so now I'm going to go finish his eyes, and we'll get back down here in just a moment. So I like my little guys to have eyes that kind of go like this. And I even draw like little circles in there, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. Now, usually I would use a black, right? But for this, I'm just going to show you like a quick demonstration. I draw in the black around here, or the dark gray in this instance for the pencil. I'll leave us a little white dot in the center, or a little off center. And I'm going to show you why. Because as you finish that, look how fun he looks, right? Boom. But you know, I got thinking about something, and I'm going to give you what I've been thinking about, or I'm going to tell you what I've been thinking about. I think that this line right here that I drew, I would like it to actually come down a little bit further down. So I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to erase it. And see, that's what happens. And that's why I say it's really important to have a pencil with an eraser so you can go back and fix. So I'm just going to bring this down a little bit further. Yeah, it doesn't have to be perfect either, okay? So already the placement's a little bit better for the way I like it. So I'm just gonna fix him. Okay. That'll do for now. It's not, you know, hugely important because you can go back and you can color. Right? Okay. Now I'm going to make his fun little legs. And this is where we're going to use a couple of curved lines, but they're going to be done in a very specific way. And this is something, again, don't worry if you don't get it right the first time. It doesn't have to look just like mine. It's a matter of kind of practicing this, okay? So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to put a couple dots kind of up on his shoulders. And again, if these are too much of a distraction, just go in and erase and kind of fill in that little line right there, okay? All right. These are going to be his legs. So you're going to use kind of a curved line, and it's going to take a couple of turns, if you will, okay? So here we go. I'm going to make sure I can see it. So I'm going to come up. I'm going to curve around. I'm going to come down. But then I'm going to start to go back in right about there. See that? Same over here. Now I'm thinking, are they even? I want to make this one just a smidge bigger. Okay, so I'm going to come up a little higher, a little wider. I'm going to come down. Yeah, that's better. Doesn't have to be totally perfect. You know, sometimes it's not all about everything being, you know, exactly perfect on both sides. Sometimes it is. But that's another big word for another day, right? So it doesn't have to be exactly matching. And, you know, I might just kind of lighten this one up a little bit, this line there. Yeah, that's a little bit better. All right, remember how we made his hands or his feet down here? All right, same idea, but watch what I'm going to do. I hope you can see here. Let me move my phone over a smidge. Okay. I'm going to bring that in like that. Okay. Something fun. And there you have it. All there is to it. All right. I'm going to draw the lily pad that he's sitting on. And this is really 2 straight lines and 2 curved lines. Boom. Done. Okay. Watch. I'm going to bring him maybe in through here. I'm going to pick this line right here. Pick this line over here. And I'm going to come around. I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to come back over here. And I'm going to bring this down around like this. I'm going to stop right here. Now, lily pads have a little opening or a little dip in them. So you can either kind of go like this if you want, or I've seen some where mine's like this, right? They can kind of just bring it down in here like this, and they just have kind of 2 straight lines. And then some of them have like some, I don't know what you call those veins in the lily pad. All right. And then the way that I did it was I just kind of drew a line over here, make it look like it's kind of wavy, right? Some movement in the water. I just drew a little like kind of floating. I just kind of took my pencil, right? I didn't even color it in. That's another, but curved lines, ready? Okay. See, don't like that. I'm gonna go back through. I wanna give it kind of a sharp tip to make it look like a blade of grass or like something that's maybe kind of sticking in the water, okay? All right, something like an aquatic plant, I guess you could say. Down here, I drew my fish, right? We did those curved lines, right? Did his tail. I'm just doing this very quickly for the sake of time. All right, he had one here, I believe, another one here, another one here. He had his eye, his thing, right? So we did him in the water. I'm thinking, I don't like that. I'm gonna go back through, maybe fix it later, maybe not even give him a fin, whatever. Maybe he looks better like that. As a matter of fact, he does. I'm gonna leave it. All right, so the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw you the dragonfly that was in the sky. So this is a series of curved lines as well. The only thing with our dragonfly is he's a little bit smaller, right? He's an insect, so he'd be in the air. So when you do your curved lines, again, it's just about arrangement or how you put them together, but this time it's going to be a little bit smaller. So if you're not comfortable, right, absolutely don't have to draw it. I'm just going to show you in the off chance that you would like to take a shot at drawing that. Okay, so I started at the top and I'm going to kind of make it so that he might be kind of looking like he's just kind of buzzed. He touched the water and, you know, kind of buzzed up. So I'm going to draw him a little bit off center here. I'm going to give him one circle like this for his head. And then he has a little bit of a body. So I'm just going to kind of come down like this. Okay. Now, with dragonflies, right, they kind of have a long tail, or I'm not even sure, I guess it's kind of a tail, right? So we can kind of bring that body into that kind of long, kind of, not really sure what you want to call that, right? But they do have kind of a long, if you've ever seen a dragonfly. All right, now they have these wings, so they have 4. So I'm going to kind of mark where I want, okay? And okay, so let's bring them up here. And again, you can go back and erase these little dots, okay? All right, so they don't have to be perfect. As a matter of fact, I want this one a little bit longer to match the other side. Okay, yeah, that's a little bit better. And they might have like some type of a thing in the middle here to make it give the impression that it's a wing. Now the thing with his tail is because it's kind of what we would call segmented, there's little kind of lines like this, little curved lines that kind of give it the illusion that, you know, he's kind of got like a little his tail's kind of just in like little different sections. Okay, now I did something fun, and this is where I'm going to use my eraser too. Okay, I'm going to do 2 more circles right up here, but I'm going to cross over. Okay, and I'm going to come through and I'm going to erase that line in the middle. Now with bugs, they're a little bit different. I think I'm going to draw this one just a smidge bigger. So I'm going to come back out and I'm going to kind of, see, I make mistakes all the time. All right, so they have like kind of maybe like their eyes that look like they're like this. Okay. And maybe it does kind of look like it's following the line of that body. You see him? Okay. Maybe the top here is just a smidge on the oval side. I'm going to bring him in and just make him fun and make him cute. Okay. So look at that. So you know what your trick is, right? Follow the curved lines, see where it takes you. As always, you can, let me just flip back here. Right, so again, we have some of these things. They are just then colored in. I gave them some shading in there, but that's kind of an idea of what he looks like, okay? You can put anything you want in the water, okay? You can put a different style of fish in the water. You don't have to put your dragonfly there. You can draw a bumblebee, right? You can draw a sun in the corner. We already did one of those with our birds, right? So I hope it's not too much for you, but I'm sure because you're so awesome at your artwork that you can probably do this without any trouble whatsoever. All right. Well, there you have it. And I hope that everyone has a very enjoyable weekend. I hope this picture kind of reminds you of the sunshine and the springtime that we are hopefully going to have here very soon and be able to get out more. Hope you guys are all doing very well. And as always, missing everyone, hoping you're all well, making good choices, staying safe and healthy. And I will be back again very soon. Bye, guys.